Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now. Buckle up, football fanatics, because what we're about to reveal is hands down one of the most shocking, jaw-dropping, career-defining moments of the entire NFL season. We're talking about a sideline explosion so volatile, so unprecedented, so absolutely nuclear, that it's got the entire sports world in complete chaos right now. This isn't just another player spat that gets forgotten by next week. This is a full-scale war that's been declared, lines that have been crossed, and a defensive legend who just became the most unexpected protector of the league's most polarizing young quarterback. What you're about to witness is Myles Garrett, the most feared man in professional football, absolutely eviscerating a veteran receiver who made the catastrophic mistake of coming after Shedeur. And trust me when I tell you, the fallout from this is going to reshape the entire narrative around the Browns, around Sanders, and around what it means to be a leader in today's NFL. Let's paint the picture of absolute devastation. The Cleveland Browns just got absolutely demolished by the San Francisco 49ers, losing 26-8 in what can only be described as a complete and total meltdown. The offense couldn't move the ball, the defense was gassed from constantly being put in terrible field position, and the entire team looked like they'd rather be anywhere else on planet Earth. The season is effectively over. Playoff hopes are dead and buried, and frustration is boiling over like a volcano ready to explode. This is when teams either come together or completely fall apart. And what happened next suggests the Browns might be heading straight for implosion. The cameras catch it all. Right there on the sideline, in front of millions watching, veteran wide receiver Jeudy absolutely loses his mind on rookie quarterback Shedeur. We're not talking about a calm, professional conversation between teammates trying to figure out what went wrong on a play. We're talking about Jeudy gesticulating wildly, clapping his hands aggressively, throwing his arms up in the air and getting right in Sanders' face like he's about to throw hands. The body language is unmistakable. This is a veteran publicly humiliating a rookie, attempting to shame him on national television, trying to make him the scapegoat for a team-wide failure. And here's where the story takes its first shocking turn. Shedeur, the kid who everyone says is too cocky, too arrogant, too entitled because of his famous last name, he handles the situation with absolutely remarkable composure. He doesn't yell back. He doesn't get defensive. He doesn't escalate the confrontation. Instead, he stands there, nods, listens, and tries to de-escalate a situation that Jeudy is doing everything possible to blow up. The rookie, in his second career NFL start, demonstrates more maturity, more poise, more leadership than the veteran who's supposed to be teaching him how to survive in this league. And that contrast, that absolute role reversal, is what has everyone talking. Within seconds, the video goes absolutely viral. Twitter explodes with millions of views. Instagram is flooded with reaction videos. TikTok creators are breaking down every frame, every gesture, every moment of the confrontation. The debate is immediate and fierce. Some people rush to defend Jeudy, saying receivers have every right to demand better execution from their quarterback, that this is just competitive fire, that this is how the game has always been played. But the overwhelming majority of fans and analysts see something completely different. They see a veteran receiver who's been underperforming all season long, trying to deflect blame onto a rookie quarterback who's doing his absolute best in an impossible situation. And then the receipts start pouring in, and they are absolutely devastating for Jeudy. The numbers don't lie, and what they reveal is a pattern of consistent failure that makes his sideline tantrum look even more hypocritical and ridiculous. In Shedeur 2 career starts, Jeudy has caught exactly 4 passes. 4 catches in 2 games. He's also dropped 2 passes and fumbled once. But it gets even worse when you expand the sample size. Through 10 games with Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco throwing him the ball, Jeudy managed only 28 catches while dropping 8 passes, 8 drops in 10 games from a guy who's supposed to be a #1 receiver. That's averaging less than 3 catches per game, which is absolutely unacceptable production from someone in his position. One analyst absolutely demolishes Jeudy with a question that cuts right to the heart of the hypocrisy. Why does Shedeur Sanders in that moment have more poise than Jeudy? Jeudy, you should be teaching Shedeur. Completely unacceptable by Jeudy. And he continues, laying out the damning evidence. Number 1, Jeudy, you're the one that fumbled that play last week versus the Raiders and Shedeur didn't come at you. You're the one that had that 39-yard play, should have been Shedeur's second if not his biggest play of the day, had you made somebody miss. But instead you start dancing in the open field, forced fumble. Shedeur didn't come at you yelling and whatnot. That's the smoking gun right there. The previous week against the Raiders, Jeudy caught a pass for 39 yards that should have been a highlight reel moment, a momentum-shifting play that could have energized the entire offense. But instead of securing the ball and making someone miss, Jeudy decided it was time to start celebrating prematurely, dancing in the open field like the play was already over. The result was a forced fumble that killed the drive and embarrassed the entire team. And when that happened, did Shedeur Sanders run over to Jeudy and start screaming at him on the sideline? Did he throw his hands up in disgust for the cameras to see? Did he publicly humiliate his receiver in front of millions of people? Absolutely not. Because Sanders understands something fundamental that Jeudy apparently doesn't. You handle your business like a professional. You keep family business in the family, and you don't tear down your teammates in public no matter how frustrated you might be. The analyst continues his takedown of Jeudy's behavior, and every word hits like a hammer. On the field with the cameras on, Jeudy, now is not the time, and that sure as hell ain't the place. That's the rookie in his second start just trying to get right. You, in that moment, are not helping Shedeur Sanders get right. You, in that moment, are just adding more chaos to one of the most chaotic situations one can exist in, which is an NFL sideline in the midst of battle while you are losing. Why in the world does the rookie have more poise than the vet? That makes no sense. And he's absolutely correct. This is Leadership 101. When you're a veteran player and your rookie quarterback makes a mistake or misses you on a route, your job is to pick him up, encourage him, help him see what you saw so he can make the adjustment for next time. Your job is not to publicly berate him, not to embarrass him, not to make him feel small in front of his teammates and the entire watching world. That's destructive leadership, and it's the exact opposite of what successful teams do. But here's where this story transforms from a simple sideline controversy into something that could define multiple careers and reshape the entire narrative around the Cleveland Browns. Because while fans and analysts are debating what happened between Jeudy and Sanders, while social media is melting down over the confrontation, something even more significant is happening behind the scenes. Word is spreading through NFL circles about the deeper context of this feud, about previous incidents and tensions that have been building, and that information is reaching the ears of someone you absolutely do not want getting involved in your drama. Myles Garrett, the Cleveland Browns' $125 million franchise cornerstone, the most terrifying defensive player in the entire league, the man who quarterbacks have literal nightmares about, is watching all of this unfold. And he is not happy. Not even a little bit. This is a 9-year veteran who's been the face of the Browns franchise through multiple coaching changes, countless quarterback carousels, and season after season of disappointment and dysfunction. He's earned every ounce of respect he has in that locker room and throughout the league through his performance on the field and his leadership off it. When Myles Garrett speaks, people listen. And what he's about to say is going to send shockwaves through the entire NFL. The post-game press conference after the loss to the 49ers is already emotionally charged. Garrett's teammate on the defensive line, Malik McDowell, just got carted off the field with what looks like a serious injury. The season is effectively over. The team just got embarrassed on national television. Garrett is raw, emotional, frustrated with how everything is falling apart. When the reporters start asking questions, they're expecting the standard athlete responses about needing to execute better, about being disappointed but moving forward, about focusing on the next opponent. What they get instead is something completely different, something that's going to dominate headlines for weeks. A reporter asks Garrett about a scuffle he had during the game with 49ers receiver Jauan Jennings, and that's when Garrett drops an absolute nuclear bomb that nobody saw coming. His response isn't just about that specific incident. It's a statement about character, about values, about how he believes men should conduct themselves both on and off the football field. And the words he chooses are so cutting, so deliberately sharp, that you can feel the temperature in the room drop. "I can't speak for how he was raised," Garrett begins, and right there, everyone paying attention knows this is about to get serious. That's not football talk. That's not commenting on someone's technique or their athletic ability. That's a direct attack on someone's character, on their upbringing, on the values their parents instilled in them. That's questioning everything about who someone is as a person, and it's the kind of statement that starts wars in NFL locker rooms. Garrett continues, his voice steady but absolutely dripping with controlled anger. "But if you have nothing good to say, don't say something to somebody. He had a lot to say that was demeaning and disparaging towards some of our players, and I was just trying to separate everybody." On the surface, Garrett is clearly talking about Jauan Jennings and their on-field confrontation. But anyone who's been following the Jeudy Sanders situation knows exactly what else this statement applies to. This is Garrett, without explicitly naming names, making it absolutely clear that Jerry Jeudy's behavior on the sideline was unacceptable, that it violated the code of how teammates should treat each other, and that he, as a leader, is not going to tolerate it. The reporter presses for more details about what happened, and Garrett's response reveals even more about his mindset and his values. "I tried to go up and ask what the problem was, and he started coming at me. I mean, some guys just roll like that. I don't feel like that belongs in the game, but hey, if that works for him." That last line is absolutely dripping with disdain and contempt. If that works for him is Garrett's way of saying he wants absolutely nothing to do with that approach, that he considers it beneath him and beneath anyone who wants to be considered a true professional. What makes this statement so powerful, so impactful, is the timing and the context. Myles Garrett didn't wait for a podcast appearance or a carefully crafted social media post. He used the platform he owns, the post-game press conference where he knows every word will be broadcast and analyzed. He's emotionally raw from a devastating loss and a teammate getting injured, which means his guard is down and his real feelings are coming through unfiltered. This isn't calculated PR spin. This is genuine emotion and conviction from a man who's decided he's seen enough and he's drawing a line in the sand. By invoking how someone was raised, Garrett is making this about something much bigger than football. He's saying that Jerry Jeudy's actions, the way he publicly berated Shedeur Sanders on the sideline, reflect a fundamental character flaw, a failure of the values that should have been instilled in him growing up. In Garrett's world, there's a right way and a wrong way to compete. You can be fierce, you can be dominant, you can demand excellence from your teammates, but you don't demean them. You don't disparage them. You don't tear them down in public. That's not competition, that's cruelty, and Garrett has zero tolerance for it. The social media reaction to Garrett's comments is absolutely explosive. Within hours, the quotes are everywhere, being analyzed and debated from every possible angle. One prominent commentator declares, "Idiot Jerry Jeudy. I have a new person on my hit list that I don't like, and his name is Jerry Jeudy." As a veteran wide receiver, your job is to protect your quarterback. That is your job. Your job is not to show up your rookie quarterback. Another analyst goes even harder, saying what many fans are thinking. Jerry Jeudy has been a piece of wasteful trash the entire year. When Joe Flacco was the quarterback, trash. When Jameis Winston was the quarterback, waste bucket. And now when Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback, he is rat sewage trash. That's harsh, that's brutal. but it reflects the genuine anger people feel watching a veteran who's underperformed all season long, trying to make a rookie quarterback the scapegoat for his own failures. The statistics back up this anger completely. One fan on Twitter breaks it down perfectly. Shedeur has 2 starts. In those 2 starts, Jeudy has 4 catches, 2 dropped passes, and 1 fumble. Through 10 games with Winston and Flacco, Jeudy had 28 catches with 8 drops, a lousy 2.8 catches per game average. And this is how he disrespects his quarterback? The receipts are damning, undeniable proof that Jeudy has been the problem all season long, regardless of who's throwing him the ball. But here's where this story gets even more fascinating and complex. Because what Myles Garrett is doing here goes beyond just defending Shedeur Sanders from one inappropriate sideline confrontation. He's making a much broader statement about leadership, about how veterans should treat young players, about what kind of culture he wants to see in Cleveland and throughout the league. Earlier in that same press conference, Garrett talked about the responsibility veterans have to empower and enable young players who are trying to find their voice and establish themselves. I think the main hurdle to get over when you're a young guy is the fact that you really don't understand or realize if you have that platform yet, Garrett explained. You kind of have to be pushed into it or guided into it. That's by us as veterans enabling those younger guys, those first, second, third-year guys. That's Garrett's philosophy on leadership, his vision for how successful organizations should operate. Veterans should be building up young players, not tearing them down. They should be pushing them into leadership roles, not trying to embarrass them into submission. So when Jeudy publicly berates Shedeur Sanders on the sideline, he's not just being rude to one teammate. He's violating everything Garrett believes about what makes a functional, successful locker room. He's doing the exact opposite of what veterans are supposed to do. And Garrett, who's seen 9 years of locker room politics, who's watched teams succeed and fail based on their culture, who understands that chemistry and mutual respect are just as important as talent, he's decided this is the hill he's willing to die on. This is where he draws the line and says, enough is enough. The timing of Garrett's defense of Sanders is also incredibly significant. This happened right after a blowout loss where the Browns looked completely dysfunctional on both sides of the ball. The season is effectively over, playoff hopes are dead, and the organization is clearly evaluating everything and everyone to figure out what the future looks like. In that context, Garrett publicly siding with Sanders over Jeudy sends an unmistakable message to the front office about who he believes should be part of the team's future and who should be shown the door. Garrett is essentially telling the Browns decision-makers that if they're serious about building around young talent like Shedeur Sanders, if they want to create a culture where players can develop without fear of being publicly humiliated, then they need to hold veterans like Jeudy accountable for behavior that undermines that culture. He's using his platform and his influence to shape the direction of the franchise. And that's exactly what a true leader does. Think about the psychological impact this has on Shedeur Sanders. Every young quarterback entering the NFL faces doubters, critics, and people waiting for them to fail. But how many rookies have one of the most respected defensive players in the entire league voluntarily stepping up to defend them? How many have someone of Myles Garrett's stature essentially saying, if you come after this kid, you're coming after me? That's armor. That's validation. That's the kind of endorsement that can transform a young player's confidence and trajectory. Sanders now knows that his professionalism, his composure under pressure, his work ethic and preparation have been noticed and appreciated by the veterans who matter most. He knows that when someone tries to tear him down, he's got people in positions of power and influence ready to back him up. That's rocket fuel for a young competitor who's trying to establish himself in the most difficult league in the world. But let's also acknowledge the other side of this story, because Garrett's defense of Sanders is going to generate controversy and criticism from certain corners. The haters are absolutely going to use this as ammunition, saying Sanders needs other players to fight his battles for him, that he can't stand on his own, that the hype around him is manufactured and propped up by people protecting him. They'll say this proves he's soft, that he's not ready, that he's getting preferential treatment because of his famous last name. And here's the beautiful irony that completely destroys that argument. Myles Garrett didn't have to do this. Nobody forced him. Nobody paid him. This isn't some orchestrated PR campaign or family connection. This is an independent, fierce competitor who's earned every ounce of respect he has through his performance on the field, voluntarily choosing to stick his neck out for a rookie quarterback. For Garrett to take that risk, for him to potentially alienate teammates and create controversy, he must see something real and substantial in Shedeur Sanders. That endorsement matters infinitely more than any amount of social media hype or famous family connections. When one of the most respected defensive players in the NFL looks at a rookie quarterback and decides he's worth defending, he's worth going to war for, that tells you everything you need to know about what Garrett sees in Sanders' talent, work ethic, and character. This isn't about favoritism or nepotism. This is about a veteran leader recognizing genuine ability and protecting it from destructive forces. Garrett's mentality isn't just talk either. Earlier in that same press conference, a reporter asked him about a moment during the game when he got close to 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. What did Garrett say to him? Garrett almost smirks when he answers. It was something like, "Just give me another one." Think about what that means. That's Garrett telling a quarterback, "Give me another opportunity and I will destroy you." That's the predator mentality, the controlled aggression that makes him the most feared pass rusher in football. And that's the exact same energy he's bringing to this situation with Jeudy. Garrett is essentially telling Jeudy and anyone else who thinks about coming after Shedeur Sanders with that disrespectful energy, "Keep talking. Give me another reason. I am waiting." This is a man who operates on the edge of controlled violence for a living, whose words carry the weight of his actions, who doesn't make idle threats or empty statements. When he says something belongs or doesn't belong in the game, people take that seriously because they know Garrett has the conviction and the ability to back up whatever position he takes. The broader NFL community is watching this unfold with absolute fascination because it touches on so many relevant themes that go beyond just one sideline confrontation. This is about generational conflict between old school mentality and new school confidence. It's about the role of social media in amplifying every moment of drama and controversy. It's about the pressure on young players with famous names to live up to impossible expectations. It's about the responsibility of veterans to mentor rather than bully. It's about the importance of locker room culture in determining team success or failure. Other young quarterbacks around the league are taking notes on how Sanders handled this situation, learning from his composure and professionalism under fire. Veteran players are seeing Myles Garrett step up to defend a rookie and thinking about their own responsibilities to younger teammates. Front offices are watching how this plays out and considering what it means for how they build their rosters and manage their cultures. This moment is going to ripple outward, influencing conversations and decisions throughout the entire league for years to come. For Jeudy, this is an absolute nightmare scenario. He's now got one of the most respected voices in football essentially questioning his character and his upbringing. He's got analysts and fans bringing receipts that prove he's been underperforming all season long. He's got the worst possible optics, being the veteran who publicly attacked a rookie who had more poise and maturity in that moment. This is going to follow him for the rest of his career. Every time he drops a pass, every time he fumbles, every time he has any miscommunication with a quarterback, people are going to remember this moment and they're going to remember Myles Garrett questioning how he was raised.